Jacqueline Molina, and I am a student teacher pursuing my bachelor's degree in Early Childhood Development and Family Studies at the University of the West Indies. During my years as an early childhood practitioner, I have come to realize that educators, when given the opportunity to congregate, would sit and discuss challenging behaviors of children amongst other things. Today, we will explore the dimensions of social withdrawal as it relates to the observations made of a preschool-aged child.
Our objectives for this video are as follows. We will 1. Meet the child subject. 2. Explore social withdrawal. So we will define it, describe its symptoms, and learn about its clinical diagnosis from a global perspective as well as locally. And finally, 3. Highlight the possible early interventions for dealing with a disorder that can have adverse developmental effects on children. To protect the identity of the child, I have changed her name and used an illustration created by V. Brave, retrieved from iStockPhoto.com. Meet Sophie Wells. Notice the SW for social withdrawal. Sophie is a student at my preschool. While doing my usual observations of the class during our regular school routines from September to now, I have noticed some oddness in Sophie's behavior. Sophie, being 4 years old, is in the preschool period where she should be interacting with others increasingly, initiating play activities, expressing thoughts and feelings, and a host of other things that she should typically be doing according to play theories by Vygotsky, 1934, Piaget, 1932, and Bandura, 1977. Quite the contrary, Sophie usually refrains from social activities with her classmates, hesitates to communicate with teacher and students, and refuses to explore or experiment with new concepts. Coined by Robin, Burgess, and Copeland, 2002, social withdrawal is the recurrent display of all forms of solitary behaviors when encountering familiar and unfamiliar peers across all situations. That precludes children from taking advantage of the values of human interaction. Rubin and Copeland, 2004, deemed the term social withdrawal as an umbrella term that the trio, Rubin, Burgess, and Copeland, 2002, categorized into two terms, namely passive withdrawal and solitary passive behavior. Stevens, 2016, stated that while externalizing behaviors, though challenging, can be addressed by the teacher or some other authoritative figure, internalizing behaviors which are not readily visible are the most difficult to recognize and address. How then can we identify children who are socially withdrawn? It's simply put by Crystal, 2007. We observe to pinpoint children who are selectively mute, choosing not to speak, sensitive to crowds, loud noises, and anything they deem too overwhelming for them. They're hesitant to do even the simplest things because there is some level of fear of the unknown. They're less likely to experiment with new surroundings and materials, as things that they are accustomed to are more comforting to them. They're reluctant to interact, and they prefer quiet corners where they can do their own thing, whether it be reading, playing, or being alone with their thoughts. And they are closed off or private. It is almost impossible to get in a conversation with them, much less get information from them. As told by Colin Estrada, research suggests that there are many reasons, both negative and positive, why children end up being socially withdrawn. For instance, their upbringing and their parental styles. Maybe they have experienced some form of trauma. It could be the effects of impairments, disabilities, or some health conditions. It could also be their customs, maybe culturally, or it could just be their choice. Most often, it is viewed as a symptom rather than a syndrome. As in the case in Belize, according to our counselor Estrada, social withdrawal is seen as an indicator of other underlying issues. For example, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM-5, highlights social withdrawal as a result of clinical mental conditions such as autism, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, and the list goes on. Estrada uses the BAS-3 self-report to assess children after they are identified as being socially withdrawn to determine disorders said to be its cause. Nevertheless, social withdrawal can be addressed through the implementation of early interventions such as social skills training as suggested by Baynard and Snyder in 1995, which involves training in verbal and nonverbal communication skills through coaching, modeling, and training for solving social problems. This strategy has generated fair advances in enhancing the social skills of withdrawn children. Likewise, something as simple as a social story, which was originally developed by Carol Gray in 1990, is a method that involves creating a personalized story that highlights the desired behavior, includes the prospects and subtle hints, then ends with simple encouragement. This strategy started out as an initiative for autistic children and ended up being an influential tool in curbing social behaviors in all aspects.
All in all, social withdrawal is not a clinically defined disorder, but I am sure that quite a few educators could concur that it is a real phenomenon that, if not addressed, could have adverse effects on children's development. This can be rectified through early detection and early intervention. I use this platform to encourage all early years practitioners to study your children and to intervene when and where necessary.